My name is Cao Jingyi and my matching number is 2C1893.
Hi, my name is Nur Hakimah binti Idris, number matric 254820.
As we know, shopping has become a normal occurrence with the evolutions of the time, which can be physical by going to the shopping centers or choose online shopping. Nowadays, students prefer to consume to relieve stress and get happiness from purchase. The purchase power theory implies that the value of the currency is expressed in the quantity of goods or service that can be brought in currency unit. Possession power is very important because the inflation can decrease the quantity of goods and service. You can purchase all other things being equal. For instance, when unsustainable inflation, the purchasing power will decrease and it causes significant negative economic effect, such as price of goods and service, and the cost of living will rise. According to the Department of Statistic Malaysia officials portal, it is shown that the consumer price index dropped 1.4% from 120.1 in September 2020. It can be concluded that the willingness of purchasing power has a negative impact on the economic environment. The willingness of people purchasing power has altered and gradually decreased compared to before and after COVID-19 outbreak. When the COVID-19 pandemic is happening, the government executed different steps of the MCO and start on June 3rd, 2020 to control the COVID-19 pandemic. Hence, many shops has been closed due to it is hard to turn when business dramatically decrease. Even though it shows a decrease in consumer spending, but customers still can online shopping. Hence, it cannot be concluded that the customer's possessions powers is based on a reason. It can also include other factors to affect them. From the view of fans and sell, their attempts to show that every consumer has different decision-making style when they purchase and customer expenditures based on type of the factors. The assumptions of the customer deciding to purchase and expenditures can be based on customer characteristics and divided into two, which are the cognitive and affective orientations. For example, what are the details of the product the consumers knows or how much the product by they should pay. These assumptions can affect them to do purchase decisions. Besides, the difference in gender has also different speak to decided consumer expenditures to affect their purchasing power. For example, the woman will consider many factors like income, price of the goods, or what and how the demand is expected, and so on. But of course, it is based on most of the people recalling this statement. In fact, everyone's possession style is different. Then, our study has three research objectives. First, what is the difference between the characteristics of product purchased by students before and after COVID-19? Second, identifies the problems faced by students when making the decisions to purchase. Third, whether due to illness COVID-19's impact on the purchasing power of students. This study will be done on students in Malaysia starting from 2019 until 2020. This because the epidemic is runs starting from 2019 and continue until 2020. This study will focus on students in Malaysia. Since the occurrence of economic disease in Malaysia has been a problem because the government has imposed a curfew. therefore, to some extent have affected the economy of the Malaysian people. But the Malaysian's economy is not completely paralyzed because there is still a handful of people shopping. In this study, students will interest to see how far and how the purchasing power of the student before and after the outbreak COVID-19. Purchasing power is the value of given currency, the amount of the good or service that can be purchased per unit of currency. Purchasing power is important because if everything is the same, inflation will reduce the quantity of goods or service you can buy. The importance of this study is to be able to study the purchasing powers of students even when facing the epidemic of COVID-19 disease. Apart from that, it gives knowledge to us to decide why risks and correct risks when faced with such situations. This study may also provide knowledge to all how the purchasing power.
I am the second presenter, will present chapter 2. In chapter 2, we'll start with literature review. In literature review, we find two factors that will influence a student to purchasing power before and after COVID-19. Okay, first factor is a product. Customer purchase product with bargain orientation and they should be included in the development of the marketing strategy. Customer determine these 5 steps before they do the decision making for purchasing product with identify the problem, search choice for evolution, decide to purchase and behavior before purchase. The view is supported by Akbar 2011, who write that the customer purchase the product based on the factor on price, brand, and place have determined. The factor of the product have been seriously influenced by the customer decision-making process. However, this is an inconsistency with the argument because customer consumer who make a reaction decision making based on their emotion when they consider purchase a product. Second factor is personal factor. In contrast to Disana 2040 and Marania 2016, comment that one of the factors influence customer buying behavior with economy based on their income and saving to choose type of product to purchase. Beside the personal factor influence buyer behavior based on age, occupation, and lifestyle. One of factor influence the purchasing power of the people itself. This is depend on age, environment, economic condition. Although the economic situation on the day is decline and many are being fired because COVID-19, purchasing power remain high although previously highest. This will be able to help the country economy. Generally, users are categorized into two, namely individual and organization users. Okay, next is about conceptual framework. R1 is relationship 1, R2 is relationship 2, R3 is relationship 3. The first step need to identify which factor influence the decision making for purchasing, then determine why and how the factor to make a decision when purchasing. For instance, how the brand, price, and other of the product to influence consumer decision making for purchasing. After that, the factor can be affected by purchasing power or decision making for purchasing. The decision making. Okay, next in chapter 2, I will present about literature gap. The literature view has mainly focused on the relationship between decision making and factors that affect buying. It also only study the purchasing power change based on this factor of purchasing. There is limited study on the purchasing power to influence a person on purchasing. Therefore, our purchasing factor to determine whether purchasing product will indirectly affect purchasing power. Then it analyses the student whether has changed their decision making and purchasing power before and after outbreak of COVID-19. The study also estimate that modified model of buying behavior without correct.
This paper used questionnaire surveys to conduct the research question on the factor that impact the student possession power to make the decision when possessing the product before and after COVID-19. The source of the data was collected from the respondents as the primary data. From this survey, the main focus populations was to target the University Udara Malaysia student. The surveys use a panel data reviews and renderings to let the respondent to respond the questions regarding the difference of preference in the decisions of possession before and after COVID-19 in order to determine whether the possession power of the respondent changed. And the sample size of this study was 30 respondents. The questionnaire consists of 3 parts as Section A, Section B, and Section C. The Section A is mainly made out of the information on demographic profile, and Section B is about the information on the source of income, saving levels, spending levels, frequency of purchase, and factor effect to purchase. After the Section B, the Section C is focused about on the decision making for possession before and after COVID-19. The table is about questionnaire items and variable operationalization. It shows the dependent variables and the format of the factor that affect the possession power of the explanatory variables. The dependent variable is the possession power, and explanatory variables have 4 variables, which are the product, psychological factor, economic factor, and personal factor. Then the question A asks about the actual items of the question A and how the variables are operationalized. For the dependent variable of the possession, the questions ask about, do you think your possession power has changed after the outbreak of COVID-19? So the respondent would respond whether yes or no. If the answer of yes means get the value of 1, that the respondents have changed their possession power after COVID-19. Otherwise, the value is 0.
Okay, model specification. In this study, we use the ordinary least square OLS model to estimate the multiple regression of purchasing power. The purchasing power Y, which is the dependent variable of purchasing power, is regressed on the expansionary variable X. Regression analysis relate to relationship between the dependent variable and the explanatory variable. The general model is expressed as follow: purchasing power equal beta 0 plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 d2 plus beta 3 d2 beta 4 d3 plus mu, where Y is the purchasing power power of the student, and X1 represent the product that identify the different between the characteristic of product purchased by student before and after COVID-19. Meanwhile, D1 represent the psychological factor to determine whether the mood of the student affect their purchasing decision, and D2 represent the economic factor to determine whether that two variable can be student purchasing power after and before pandemic COVID-19. Personal factor represent D3, that is to decide whether that variable can be certified as an issue. Lastly, mu is known as the error demand, has also represent of the error of measurement. The purchasing power model is right as a follow. Purchasing power equal B0 plus B1 product plus B2 psychology factor plus B3 economic factor plus B4 personal factor and plus mu.